A Tufts University student was detained the other day. She was a part of the pro-Palestinian protest. And wait till you see the way that she was detained. Let's go ahead and bring in this clip here from Case Study QB. Shout out to Case doing the damn thing. Check this out, fam.
Okay, we are back now with the arrest of another international student expressing pro-Palestinian sentiments. A Turkish national enrolled in a PhD program at Tufts University, detained by DHS Tuesday night while walking down the street. She's now being held at an ICE facility in Louisiana, and immigration authorities say there are grounds for her visa to be terminated. NBC's Antonia Hilton has this one.
This is the moment Tufts University graduate student Rumeysa Ozturk was arrested and taken into federal custody. Doorbell camera footage obtained by NBC News shows two plainclothes officers approaching the 30-year-old in Somerville outside of Boston. Ozturk at first appears to back away before more agents approach, one eventually taking her phone out of her hand. Officers then take her backpack off, handcuff her, and lead her across the street to a car. An onlooker heard questioning why the officers' faces are covered. Ozturk's lawyer says she was on her way to break Ramadan fast with friends on Tuesday night when she was detained without explanation. She says her client, a Turkish national, was in the U.S. working toward a PhD in child study and human development on a valid F1 visa, which allows foreign nationals to pursue academics without the intention of immigration. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security today, writing in part, DHS and ICE investigations found Ozturk engaged in activities in support of Hamas, a foreign terrorist organization that relishes the killing of Americans.
So do you see what they're doing, guys? This is what I was warning people about, right? Like, basically what they're doing, if you participated in those pro-Palestinian protests, they're defining that as you were participating in supporting Hamas, right? So they're just coming after people. We already talked about Mahmoud Khalil, but there have been a number of them now.
Verifying and supporting terrorists who kill Americans is grounds for visa issuance to be terminated. DHS did not reference specific incidents, but in March of last year, Ozturk co-authored an op-ed for Tufts student newspaper, condemning the university's dismissive nature and condescending tone when responding to calls for the school to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide and divest from companies with direct or indirect ties to Israel.
See, I think that was the thing that really pushed it over. You know, they're coming after people also that are calling for divestment. They're calling for these universities to divest. They're coming after them as well, right? Like they're seeing that almost as like a slur. It's really crazy. It's insane. Don't forget that it was students at college campuses that rose up and asked to, you know, divest from apartheid South Africa at the time. And that was fine because it was South Africa. But now that you're asking that of Israel, that's where the U.S. government really draws the line, and they see that as a problem.
Ozturk's attorney says no charges have been filed to her knowledge and that she's been unable to contact her client. ICE detention records updated today say that Ozturk is now in ICE custody in Basile, Louisiana. Tufts president says the school had no pre-knowledge of this incident and did not share any information with federal authorities prior to the event. Adding, from what we have been told subsequently, the student's visa status has been terminated, and we seek to confirm whether that information is true. The arrest comes on the heels of the high-profile detention of Columbia grad student activist and permanent resident Mahmoud Khalil in New York, spreading fear in the community.
The fact that someone can just be disappeared into the abyss for voicing an idea is absolutely horrifying.
Now, I'm going to show you the actual video of her being detained because this gentleman here, shout out to Daniel, I've obtained new footage of the abduction of Tufts student Rumeysa Ozturk, which includes audio of her kidnappers. Now, one of the things you guys may have noticed, you don't see them, you know, really identifying who they are, right? They were wearing masks. So that could have been anyone coming up to you, grabbing you off the street. And also, why are ICE agents all of a sudden now wearing masks? They weren't wearing masks before, at least not here in Massachusetts. They weren't wearing them before. So why are they wearing them now? So these are questions that people need to ask, but I want you to hear this so you can hear the full audio and the person who captured this video. See this? This guy, they just covered the face. Why are you covering your face? So this could be anyone coming to you saying we're taking you away.
You guys covering your faces? You want to take those masks off? Is this a kidnapping? Yeah, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces? Why are you hiding your faces? Can I see some faces here? How do I know this is the police? Seems like bullshit to me. Certainly looks like it.
So that's either Somerville or Medford, because I see the blue street signs. Tufts, part of Tufts University is in Medford and part of it is in Somerville. It's kind of weird, but I used to live in Somerville, so I'm familiar.
Bit of a kidnapping going on here.
So you see this? Yeah, so shout out to the guy who got this video footage. So that was them just wearing street clothes and wearing masks. I mean, they could have been anyone, you know, like, why would you just say, okay, I'm going to go with you? So they detained her. Now, there have been multiple protests in Somerville, a large crowd of people demanding that she is returned. I mean, it's a big call to action. Again, shout out to my old community, Somerville here. Mike Connolly said, standing with thousands of Somerville residents to denounce the sickening, unlawful abduction of Tufts graduate student Ramisa Ozturk. So you can see here's part of that crowd here.
Come for one, face us all! Free Ramisa, free them all! Free them all! Come for one, face us all! Free Mesa, free them all! Come for one, face us all! Free Mesa, free them all! From a comrade who could not take the risk of being here today because they are being targeted for being an immigrant, and they wanted me to share with you all just a small sense of what immigrant communities in Somerville and around the country are experiencing every single day.
Okay, so that's one of the videos there of the protest. Here's another one. Here, a gentleman who was also present, World Socialist website, gathered this footage.
I'm glad so many people are showing up for this. You know, they're targeting Somerville just because we're one of the most progressive cities in the country, and they want to get us scared, and it's obviously having the opposite effect. So I think we all got to keep up what we're doing. It's not anti-Semitic to be protesting genocide, obviously. You know, but this is the scare tactic they're using, and they're trying to don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to consolidate wealth. The people with all the money have bought the Democratic Party too, especially the people up at the top, and nothing's going to change as long as they're making their money. I'm glad.
Yeah, he's 100% correct. And I will add this as well. Having lived in Somerville, I lived there for like 5 years. Somerville is very diverse. It's one of the, I think, best neighborhoods that you can live in the Boston area for like diversity and like great food. And it's a really cool place to live. Like I did enjoy living there. And a little tidbit that people may not know, the mayor of Somerville, when I lived there, his name was Joseph Caratoni. Joseph spoke out during the George Floyd protest, and he refused to remove the Black Lives Matter sign. And there was a lot of controversy over that. The Somerville PD wanted him to remove it. And he said, no, I'm not removing it from City Hall. And he said, because what Black people go through, especially, you know, having grown up in Somerville and what I've seen, he's like, no, we're not taking it down. These things need to be addressed. They need to be acknowledged. And we need to make some changes here. And I mean, Joseph Caratoni wasn't Black. So there was a lot of like controversy there, but he's not mayor anymore. But he was mayor there for quite some time, and he was willing to stand up and say, no, we got to do the right thing. So it is a very diverse community. And this particular speaker here, she pointed out something that the Democrats have a part to play in this. Listen to this.
Elizabeth Warren is not going to save you. The Democratic Party is not going to save you. They did not save Rumesa. She is detained. They did not save hundreds of thousands of my people murdered by U.S. bombs. This whole damn system has to go.
So that is very powerful, and that makes me hopeful that people are starting to see, yeah, these people, I told you guys, they're not heroes. These people are not going to save you. I don't know where Elizabeth Warren is, but you would have hoped that maybe she would have been at that rally, or she would be more vocal about what's happening here in particular. But I think a lot of younger people are starting to get the picture, and I want to show you something. All these people they have detained, again, Israel priority. There was Mahmoud Khalil, right? So he was the first one that a lot of people knew about. This woman here, Yunseo Chung, she was another one, Columbia University. However, for her sake, a federal judge blocked it and said that no, she cannot be detained, right? So that was another one. These, I don't know if you guys heard of all of them. Mamadou Tall, who I believe was on RBN at one point. He was a student at Cornell. He was arrested by ICE for being at a pro-Palestinian protest. So he was another one that they detained. I told you, like, they're just going after who are the people at the protest. And now you see Rumesa has been detained. So we have a serious problem here, ladies and gentlemen. Another one, Badr Khan, an Indian national postdoc fellow at Georgetown University, was also abducted by ICE for disagreeing about Gaza. We talked about Dr. Rasha, who was detained from Brown University. I mean, it's just, the list goes on, and people aren't hearing about all of them. Alireza, Iranian PhD student at the University of Alabama, was detained by ICE. And again, I just want people to know, like, we don't know what is happening to those people once they are detained. We don't know how they're treating them. We don't know if I would assume they're not treating them well. We don't know what has happened to those people. I know some of the lawyers are trying to get a hold of them. And then you'll see here, this is Eric from World Socialist website. He had something to say here as well at the protest.
And the last thing I would say is that the capitulation of the Democratic Party to the Trump administration is shameful. Well, it would be shameful, except that we don't expect anything better from them in the first place. So what we would say is that's not the social force to which we're appealing. All the old talk of abolish ICE, that's just for the midterms. It's just a bunch of lies. If democracy is going to be defended, it's not going to come from the Democratic Party. It's going to come from you, and it's going to come from the working people in this country who are about to realize what's coming. And so that's our position.
Yeah, I'm glad that people are seeing this for what it really is. Now, I just want to remind you of something and shout out to Miriam. This was under the Biden administration in May 2024, the second NYPD raid of Columbia's campus in 2 weeks. What we are seeing now is the culmination of the bipartisan efforts to criminalize every aspect of our student movement. So what people have to remember when you see this, remember this under Biden. Remember all the NYPD police officers coming in to Columbia under Biden. Okay, we want to show you that because they have a point here. National Students Justice for Palestine. Remember that Biden laid the groundwork for the Trump regime by facilitating the violent repression of student organizing. The neoliberal university, a microcosm of American empire, has never been a safe space. So what we are seeing, as I said before, if the Democratic Party wasn't willing to speak out when this was happening, when they were leading, what did we think was going to happen under the Republican Party? When you basically give the green light, it's just like when the Biden administration wasn't willing to stop the killing. You gave the green light for the Trump administration to come in and say, okay, let's just get rid of all of the rest of them then, which it sounds like that's what Israel's trying to do. So when the party that is supposed to represent the left or the working class, which it really doesn't, when they fail, what do you think the opposition party is going to do? When you tell them that it's okay to treat people this way, what do you expect to happen? And that's how you get here. So it's unfortunate what's been happening. It's very scary times. And I don't know. I caution everybody, anyone who, it seems like they're mainly going after students right now, but that doesn't mean they're not going to go after professionals as well. So if you are in this country and you are on a visa and you participated in any of the pro-Palestinian protests, I'll be very cautious because you just don't know. They could come for you. And I want to point out something. A lot of people were talking about Trump's going to do these mass deportations. According to the numbers, there hasn't been a mass deportation. That hasn't happened. Instead, what you do have are controversial detainees, people who are being detained in a controversial manner. So it's giving a lot of news to it, right? It's newsworthy. So people are like, oh, look what's happening. And we're talking about these stories. But there hasn't been a mass deportation. They are targeting specific people. So keep that in mind. This is why I say, the theme was what's going on. Because this is insane. And I want to let you guys know something. As someone who has worked at these university systems, you would be surprised how many of these schools depend on international students in order to even turn a profit. And I'm not trying to be funny about that, but a number of them here, particularly in Massachusetts, they depend on the international student population for enrollment purposes because they cannot get financial aid. And their parents have to prove that they can pay for tuition for the first, those full 4 years. They have to prove that they can pay for that. So a lot of those universities depend on the international students to kind of come here and foot the bill. And if this kind of thing continues, more and more international students may say, actually, I don't feel comfortable going to college in the United States right now. Maybe I'll just go to college here at home. So when we talk about the economy and we talk about how things are going to have an impact on the economy, that's something you guys need to know. And I only know that because I worked in higher ed for over 10 years. And I've been on admissions committees. I'm trying to tell you, without the international students, many of these colleges would fall. So it's crazy stuff, guys. Crazy times. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.